but it's worse than it was.
Yeah, I felt like de Blasio messed it up.
Yeah, Adams tightened it up a little bit. He hired back some of the police. You know, he's enforcing some more of the laws that de Blasio let go. Now, de Blasio was pretty much a disaster. It's really disappointing. I mean, it seems like almost deliberate destruction. We'll see. There's a lot of powerful people in New York. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
What the response is to this guy.
Do you think a lot of people actually came out to vote when he won? No, it's not.
A lot of people did not.
Okay.
Now, the word is that it's actually more than usually show up in a primary. And that number was about 700,000, or 22% of the people who are registered to vote, who usually do vote. People don't show up in primaries very much. I think everybody assumed it was going to be Cuomo.
And how do we know they don't cheat?
Well,
How do we stop them from cheating?
You don't know that something isn't happening. If you have an idea that something is happening, then you need evidence that it's happening.
Yeah, but the first time when Trump lost, I had so much evidence.
What did Trump lose?
I had like three stories of evidence, but what'd you say?
What did he lose? When did he lose?
Yeah.
2020?
Yeah. There were a bunch of evidence of people who had
I can't hear you. It might be my fault. This might be this one area of my house I don't have a signal.
and she go. No,
it's our connection.
not gonna make it now.
Yeah, you in the metrics.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
I'm not
So, Norm, you here?
Yeah.
So there was one situation where my friend is a Republican, and she voted on election day, and she followed when it registered, and it registered two weeks after election day. And then somebody in my family who's a Democrat got 3 ballots, one and one in her address and her maiden name.
Yeah. I mean, there's a system that if there's a duplicate, it's automatically triggered electronically.
Unless you close your eyes to it, no? Or turn off that glitch while you're those elections, who knows?
I don't make stuff up because it doesn't help to understand. If it happens or it doesn't, if you have evidence of it, then you can see if it's happening. If not, then there's no point in making stuff up. בסדר. Can't hear you.
Say it slowly. And then shit.
Fix your freaking internet, J-Lo. I think she's driving.
I'm driving.
You drive,
טוב, מאוד שומע רגע.
שומע, בוא.
דיברתי עם דן, אולי אני אסיים את שתי חברות לקפריסין.
הופה, מתי?
אמצע או סוף יוני.
עכשיו, יאללה, לא?
אמצע.
יש מלונות או דברים, כאילו?
אמרתי, זה לא איתו.
קצת עמוס עכשיו, בקפריסין, לא?
כן, אבל לא מטוס לאירופה, לא יודע. מצב של עכשיו.
קפריסין זה לא כזה אירופה, זה ממש כל היד עבור ישראל.
בדיוק, בגלל זה לא רוצה עכשיו אירופה.
לא, אבל אני אומר, תבדקו שבאמת יש מלונות כיוונו סתם על זה, ואין מלונות שתבדקו מלא.
דיברתי לדעת שאני מדבר איתו.
יאללה, עשו כן, לא? למה לא? זהו, בשביל זה עצרת אותם?
כן.
טוב מאוד. כן, דיבור...
מה נעשה, אחי?
דיבור שטויות, וג'יילו בלי אינטרנט, שזה הכי מעצבן. והמטומטם הזה מדבר ומגן על המפלגה שלו. כך הוא לצאת.
למה אתם נותנים לזה יד? לא רוצים לשמוע את זה, עוברים עברית בלבד, רוצים לדבר אנגלית, תפתחו חדר, לכו לג'ייב.
לא היה פה אף אחד. רק הם...
אני יצאתי כי הם דיברו באנגלית, זה לא מעניין.
איפה חנה? לא רואה לעבוד?
לא יודעת, היא אמרה לפני שעה שהיא עוד חצי שעה יוצאת.
חצי שעה אובססיבית, למה אתה מתרגע אותה?
לא נעים לי, זה יותר מדי.
היא אובססיבית אמיתית, לא אובססיבית אמיתית. לא, אתה יודע, אובססיבית, אבל נותנת לה לישון. היא לא כאילו מציקה לה כל היום.
לא תחסום אותי, אני מתפחדת.
חנה בעולם לא תחסום אותה. אלא אם תפקדי בה כמו אורלים.
לא חזה חלילה. אבל עבר לשלב, אתה יודע למה?
למה?
היא התחילה לכתוב לי בשפת אם שלה. נראה מרגישה בנוח.
יודעת שזה לא השפת אם שלה.
בסדר, שפת האם כאילו שפת האמא שלה.
שפת האמא שלה זה אוקראינית, לא רוסית.
אבל רוב האוקראינים לא באמת יודעים אוקראינית, הם מדברים רוסית.
טוב שהם יודעים.
באמת.
הם מבינים רוסית. דלית מה, אל תשאלי אותי.
טוב, כי היא מורידה הכל.
לגבי מה? זה תלוי איזה דור. אני כך חושב שהדור של ההורים של חנה לא ידעו אוקראינית. הרוסים לא נתנו להם לדבר בשפה שלהם, רק ברוסים. הם שלטו עליהם כמה? 70-80 שנה? אני שממש זקנים, והדור הצעיר שעכשיו כאילו רוצה, אתה יודע, פטריוטיות אוקראינית, אז מחיים את השפה מחדש. אבל אתה יודע, זה לא שונה בהרבה. זה לא שונה בהרבה. זה סתם בראש שלהם, זה שזה שונה. זה אומרים חרב וזה אומרים גט. לא, זה לא. ממש לא. זה כמו סורית ומצרית. זה השוואה יותר מזויקת. סורית ומצרית. לא בדיוק, אבל דומה, כן. נגיד, שפות של יוגוסלביה, אתה יכול סרבית, רומנית, זה גם
לנו, להם זה משהו. באוקראינית זה כמעט אחד לאחד. גם זה אותם אנשים, אתה יודע, לא שונים להרבה.
מה ההבדל בין זונה רוסיה לזונה אוקראינית?
רוסיות גדולות יותר.
והכל.
יש את המולדוביאנים, שהם הכי כאילו... הם הבררה של הבררה, הם באוקראינה הם זונה. מולדובה זה מדינה אחרת. זאת אומרת, לנו זה יראה אותו דבר.
אוקיי, אני אשאל שאלה באנגלית. שימו טוב לב לשאלה. What's the difference between a drug dealer and a prostitute?
Then what is it?
Give a chance tomorrow and leave.
Okay. Or what's the difference?
מה ההבדל בין סוחר סמים לזונה?
In English.
What's the
שהוא
difference?
סוחר סמים ואתה סוחרים.
לא יודע, לא.
A prostitute can wash her crack. And reuse it.
wash their מה?
Wash her crack.
Crack.
Her crack.
crack?
Yeah.
Crack and reuse it.
הבנת
אתה
אותו.
מתכוון, סוחר סמים של קראק, אוקיי, חשבתי כאילו באופן כללי סוחר סמים, אוקיי.
לא בסמים, בשום מקרה הוא לא יכול לשטוף את החומר שלו.
בסדר, קראק זה חומר ספציפי שמוכרים אותו בעיקר בארצות הברית, בארץ אין את זה. אני, האסוציאציה שלי שמוכר סמים זה, אתה יודע, הרואין וקוק. לא קראק.
וואו. עכשיו סיפרתי לך על החבר שלנו פוסים במסיבה בווילה, כי היא עובדת בחו"ל,
כן,
אבל זו עברה אתמול לקנדה,
בת 1000. בלי להודיע לכם, ולא עשיתם לו מסיבה,
כוסו.
והתארגנתם על כסף, אלכוהול וזה, לא?
לא, בסוף לא עשינו לה כלום.
גם זה גם זה.
אחי, היא לא אנגלית, היא לא אנגלית.
רגע, היא עוברת לאן? לקנדה?
באיזה פוטנציאל יכול להיות לי?
היא עוברת לקנדה?
עברה לקנדה אתמול.
לאן לקנדה? זה מסוכן עכשיו. זה מסוכן לעבור לקנדה.
חכה רגע.
Ooh.
Her friend.
She went to the ship.
שלחתי לך את המיקום. עכשיו היא נתנה לה סטורי מיקום של כאילו רשום קנדה, אבל היא נתנה את זה עם K, לא עם C. שאתה מבין את הרמה של האנגלית.
שלחת איפה?
באינסטגרם.
אז תצייני שזה, כי אין לי נוטיפיקציה של האינסטגרם.
אוקיי, סליחה.
רק שאומרים לי, כאילו, מה? לשם, באמת?
כן.
בסדר, אז שם אין הרבה אנטישמים. אבל זה חור תחת.
אבל תראה לך רשום קנדה עם K.
מי רשם את זה? למה רשמו את זה ככה?
שתבין.
אבל המקום הזה זה שממה, אתה יודע, זה אמצע של
איזה
מקום.
בנק יפה יש לה, תקשיב.
כן, אבל זהו, אי אפשר לצאת מהבית. זה רק הבית, ואת יוצאת עם האוטו לקניון, וגמור מתחת לאדמה מחומה. הכל שם קרח כל זמן. שלג.
היא אמרה לי שהיא הולכת כאילו לעבוד במסיבות נגיד, אז היא הולכת להיות בדוכנית.
היא עברה לבד או עם המשפחה?
עם הבן זוג שלה, אבל
כמה
הוא
היא?
חוזר 18.
רגע, היא לא הולכת לצבא?
עוד חצי שנה.
אז היא נסעה לקנדה לחצי שנה לעבוד.
כן.
חשבתי שהיא עברה לקנדה.
לא, אני אגיד לך מה. היא עושה בייביסיטר לאיזה ילד, והמשפחה מאוד קרובים אליהם, כאילו למשפחה שלו. אז הם אמרו לה, אם רוצה להמשיך לעשות לבייביסיטר בחו"ל, כי הם עושים לוקיישן, אז היא הסכימה, וכאילו היא עושה גם בייביסיטר, וגם עכשיו הולכת לעבוד בפארקים, כל החרא.
יופי, אחלה שתעשה כסף גם.
כן.
הזונה.
סורו.
עונה, רגע. היא כותבת לאט.
איזה מעניין.
כן, אבל היא כותבת לאט.
לא, לא ממש.
או שהיא כותבת הרבה.
אמן סלע.
אהוב חיי לקייטנה, אז עוד איזה שעה.
אמא לתפארת, לא יעזור לאף אחד.
זה יפה שהיא רוצה עוד ילדים.
היא מתה לעוד ילדים, לא רוצה.
אז מה בעיה שלה? אתה יודע, זה גם...
למצוא את האחד המתאים, מה זה? לא רוצה לגדל אותם לבד.
חשוב שהיא רוצה רכבת, כאילו בלי...
לא, היא רוצה ילדים, לא ילד. היא רוצה עוד איזה 4-5.
זה חולר. אני כאלה מוכן מדרום זדה.
אז ככה זה העמלק. עוד זרע של צמחוני, איכס. הורדת לי את כל האוויר ממנו, שאמרת לי שהוא צמחוני.
פסקטרי, זה כמעט צמחוני, זה חצי כזה, חצי כוח צמחוני. הוא לא טבעוני לפחות, אתה יודע, אלה הכי קשים. הוא כשהכרנו אותו היה, אתה יודע, על הגבול. לא הייתי קורא לזה שמאלני, אבל הוא היה על הגבול.
אתה יודע שזה חלק מהצמחונות והטבעונות, זה יהירות, כאילו התנסות מעל אחרים.
זה המקומות שהוא מסתובב בהם. הוא הולך, אתה יודע, לכל הפסטיבלים של האיפים, שוויפים, כל האלה, מה אתה חושב שנמצא שם תנועת בית"ר? לא יודע, בן גביר, הוא לא, אתה יודע, זה בחורות כאלה, עם שערות כאלה בצ'ט כאלה. אז זה בדרך כלל שמאלניות. זה הסביבה שהוא מסתובב, אתה יודע, הוא לא יכול, בוא נגיד שהוא לא מחופשי את הדעות שלו שם. לא, עכשיו, אתה יודע, זה לא רק המקומות האלה, גם איפה שהוא גר. תסתכל איפה שהוא גר, זה רק שמאלנים גרים שם, אין אחד ימני באזור הזה. המרכז זה של הציבור של הפיילה של תל אביב.
וואלה, בתוך כיכר המדינה וכאלה.
לא, זה כאילו אותו קו, אבל היה, כאילו נהיה.
זה גם טובריה.
כן, צפון לישן. בוא נגיד שאין שם ימנים. ואם יש זה מאוד מאוד מינורי. מה?
ברגעים של עצב, גלגל לך עסק.
זה היה משפטי סבא כאלה של זה, שתשומתי. זה של סקוויד? צודק, ככה גם אני חשבתי שזה זה. זה אחד, זה הכי חולה. זה ליחנה. לדעתי היא צילמה את עצמה ו...
לא.
היי חווה.
Hi guys.
היי, how are you?
I'm good. Excited. I have a question actually. What is your opinion maybe? Why did Bibi only go to New York today for the first time since October 7th?
What is the question? Why is the first time or why
Yeah.
going there?
No. I know
Why
why.
is the first time?
Why only now?
It's
It feels like that my empathize. I just lost one of my parents, and he lost his mom. So I can
Want to just buy more fakes because like it is what it's not.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly. And supportive of their dad, but I'm pretty sure they know that their dad isn't perfect. I mean, they've seen him be Cassie, and I'm sure, we were just like wondering what type of conversation that Diddy is having with his kids. Because it all can't be like, oh, the government is out to get me type shit. There has to be, in my mind, some accountability for his very, public act.
Yeah.
So I just had a video and it's talking about the verdict. It is a long video. It's from CBS News and it's about an hour long. If y'all want to play this, we can play this like 5-10 increments.
I don't know about that. That's long.
Yeah.
Hey, Patty.
Yes.
Patty, before you do that, can I just say this? Because it's about infinity, before y'all change the subject. So last night, I came into the room late, and I just wanted you guys to be aware. I came in late. When I came in, he was already talking into the frustration, I guess, of the conversation that was going on. And so now, even after you left, you know how he was whining before you left. He continued to do that, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I happened to look down in this chat, and before that, Scotty addressed him. Called him basically despicable. That was probably the worst word he used, but he talked about Manfinity and how he plays. And the things he's saying, and he's saying thank you, Jesus, and even though he was not religious himself, he kind of went there with Manfinity. So
I said
Manfinity started in the chat. He started to call Scotty a bitch in the chat. And then he started to, Scotty wasn't here very long, but he was going in the chat on Ramona. He was calling her bitches and fat and stuff. So just so you guys know, I kicked his ass out.
Okay.
Because I was deleting him at first. But he continued to do it. I didn't say anything to him. I didn't even open my mouth and say anything to him, but I kicked him out. I did not block him, but I kicked him out because it was not necessary for him to go in on her, to keep calling her bitches. So I kicked him out. Just wanted y'all to know, because he's gonna come here whining today, and if he does and I'm in the room, I have no problem telling him that it was me. But I did that. He probably think it's Haitian. And so, but it was.
I was deleting his messages in the chat, and he kept doing the shit over and over and over and over again.
I was too. I was deleting them too. Both were, and he just kept doing it. He was mad that Scotty put it, he called him out.
Yeah.
But just wanted you to know. Wanted y'all to know. It was me.
Deborah, just in case you don't know Nick in the chat.
I have him blocked. So.
I have him blocked forever, and him and Anthony, they blocked forever. So,
thank you, Miss Deborah. Miss Deborah, thank you. And also, to be clear, my only statement was, look, I'm not a Christian, but we had two Christians on stage who were citing gospel, or citing the Bible and the verses and things like that. And I was mentioning to him that it is an affront on Christianity and the people that I know that are good Christians who care about people, migrants, whatever, that you use Christianity in a way that is despicable. And even your sign off when you say thank you, Jesus, is an affront to Jesus himself and everybody that purports to, love Jesus and love his teachings, and it's disgusting. So I called him out.
I mean, when I was talking to him, I think I probably was the first person just in that particular conversation to bring up the Bible verse, a biblical concept, right? And I said to him, because he kept being like, what if I'm struggling? I'm struggling. I'm trying to overcome, my vices or whatever. And I said, well, we all have choice, And I said, Manfinity, as a man thinketh, so is he. That's what the Bible says. And he was like, what? I said, as a man thinketh, so is he. He was like, wait, where'd you get that from? I was like, the Bible? And he literally was like, can you repeat that? Like, y'all, that is such a basic.
He has never studied. He has never studied.
I mean, like, and so I think Thomas or somebody,
I don't know.
the F grade, like, put the actual, because it's like a longer sentence, but it's just like, that is basic biblical knowledge. And he was just like, wait, what is that?
What is it again? Because I don't know it. I know some little biblical things y'all be saying, but I don't know. What did you, I'm not familiar. What was it?
Oh my
Hey, that's a regular book that the guy is also.
Yeah.
Man, thank you.
What is it that it's a regular what?
It's a regular book, like a life book. As a man thinking.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, for sure. Like, I mean, literally, I was thrown off when he was like, what was that? Can you repeat that? And I was like, what, as a man thinking? Like,
Yes, so as a man thinking, so is he. So is
I'm
he.
like,
But one last thing that he did also, which I thought was
Proverbs 23:7.
wait, Patty, are you serious?
No, I'm dead ass. I've never heard of it.
Oh, okay, but still, you ain't on here professing how Christian you are, you know what I'm saying, and trying to preach to other people, you know what I mean?
I went to Catholic school, yeah, and had to go to church on Wednesdays with them. But
one last thing he did that was out of line, guys, was he was going back and forth with Thomas too. That's who he was really mad at.
Yeah, Thomas was this week. He was on.
But what Manfinity did was he started saying, now I see why Lisa don't like your ass. Lisa wasn't in the room, right? And so I thought, that wasn't right. And he just kept saying it over and over. Now I see why she don't like your ass. And then don't nobody like you, Lisa and nobody else. And I just, all of that together. But it was, the final straw was the bitches to Ramona.
Yeah, because Ramona wasn't even on stage when I left.
That was crazy. She wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Manfinity, like a typical so-called conservative Christian, I'm pretty sure that he has a porn addiction. And he's also clearly a misogynist. And so, like, he likes women, likes sex, but he hates women and can't get sex. And therefore, that's his conundrum. God bless.
Wait, so y'all really think he's into cartoon porn? That's what Patience said. What's it called?
Yo, he wasn't the one who said that night. No, were you there that night when he was doing that fucking game that night?
He was talking about the furry.
Furry porn.
Yes. And that motherfucker trying to say that I was making that up. I didn't even know what the fuck that was.
That is hysterical.
That was offensive. I heard it too.
Exactly.
Yeah. He clearly has a porn addiction. Clearly. Which y'all, I know y'all, I'm sure y'all know this, that during the Republican conventions and stuff like that, like the the prostitution rate and stuff like that is sky high, and also
the gay website,
and gay, and that porn is the highest. The sites, they have the highest rates of watching porn come from the conservative states.
Wow.
Yeah, because everybody hates them and they ain't getting that. Yeah, I mean, people, they're hypocrites on every single level. And it's like, if you didn't hate women so much, maybe we would want to date you, but we don't. the nerve to. I mean, I guess I get it. I guess you can see yourself as a degenerate, just like Diddy, certainly. But I think it's his narcissism that, like in some ways thinks that he's Diddy, and it's just like, oh boy, just go sit down, just be quiet. We really don't care. I mean, fight your fight, but you're on this app preaching to everybody, like you're on this app, telling everybody how you're so righteous and you're following God's word, and that's why you're following Trump and so on and so forth. I mean, come on.
And he should really use the word evangelical. He is not a Christian, and they are not the same. So he needs to stop that shit. He's a white evangelical nationalist, is what he is.
Exactly.
In blackface.
And he wondering why he can't find the answers for his life. And Ed Bell called him out. He tried to pretend last night, y'all, that he was light skinned. He tried to pretend that the PTR in his picture.
Yeah, the one with the waves and the cross haircut on the side. Did you guys see it? I said, he's all, that's me. I said, that ain't true, bro. You a liar. You freaking, that's a light skinned dude. You
showed us your picture. You showed us your picture, remember? Because you went to the...
He was like, no, I showed you a pinky. I said, no, you showed us both of your hands. You had your hands like that, folded in front of you. Like, what are you talking
exactly.
about?
We was like, you dark skinned, brother. Like, why you mad? How you gonna be mad? You gonna be trying to pretend that now you're light skinned. Oh my God.
Because he wants to be white.
He
A
does.
cowboy and a Christian ain't the same thing. Somebody ought to tell him.
Tell him, Water, when he come in here, you tell him.
Oh, hell no. You know how long that conversation I ain't got that.
If I tell him, he's just going to leave. Because I can't stand him. I don't have him blocked. I don't even have Anthony blocked no more. I used to have Anthony blocked. And I probably will block him again. I unblocked him because Lisa liked to have him in his spaces. But when he was in her spaces, I couldn't stay.
I feel it. I'm still that way. Y'all do such a good job moderating, but even so, it's like you can only go, there's no making sense of insanity, and a lot of times, man, like those conversations just devolve into insanity, and I get it, like some people are shy, it's hard for them to make new friends, so I want to hold space for everybody. That being said, not at the expense of my sanity.
At least if we having these dudes on the hook, she'd be like, Manny, you guys don't block Manny. And then she'd be like, Thuggy, where's my Thuggy? I'm just like
a rescue.
You're falling for it.
Like it's a cowboy rescue. What the
hell? And then she clearly expresses different values than they do. So I'm just like, y'all clearly don't understand, like when you're being psychologically toyed with. But yeah. So I don't know if y'all know Dante. But if you don't, just ignore this. But I went to a room. I didn't know. It was a room I had been in before, but I never knew that Dante was a top left person. But he was top left. And so it was about Diddy. And
yeah, he opened up that room because, the room I told you to go into where Albert was at?
Whatever.
Yes, yesterday.
I went.
Right. So Dante was in that room, but they didn't let him speak, and that's when he said, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna open up my own motherfucking room and House of Hustle." So that's why he went and opened up that Diddy room.
Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wound up there, and all these people defending Diddy, so I'm writing in the chat, I'm trolling them. I'm not even ripping on them. I'm just putting facts in. They're calling Cassie all types of hoes and so on and so forth. So I'm just stating the facts, and he's furious, like
He was like, he started like, he didn't want to acknowledge that he was speaking to me at first. And he was like, like if you write in the chat, you can just come up on stage and say what you got to say, he's like, look, I ain't scared of nobody. I ain't afraid to debate nobody. And he sent me the link, he invited me to speak, but I didn't come up, right? So I just kept writing in the chat. And he got more and more furious. And then finally he was like, yeah, so Dr. Goddess, you in the chat. He's like, why don't you come up and debate me? Like, you got so much to say in the chat. And so I wrote him and I said, oh, you want me to come up and speak to you? Sure. And I said, I can come up. So, I came up. I got like 5 different invitations. So I came up. And he was like, so, what's your problem with Diddy? Like, what's the issue here? Like, why you been so mad at him? Like, what's going on? And I said, well, I said, I've seen what he's done over the years. And I said, and this, for me, it's not so much just about this case. I said, Diddy is a terrible person. He belonged in jail a long time ago. And I said, and y'all keep talking about, because he has children and he has loved ones. And I said, what about all the Black lives that he ruined along the way here? What Black lives? What you mean? So I started with Craig, Matt, and they wanted to go down and be like, nah, he signed a contract. It ain't Diddy's responsibility to help him. I said, it actually is. Like that's his argument. He's like, well, he got paid, he got a check. I said, and if he got sick, it's Diddy's responsibility to help him. And I said, then, if you're going to just go around and be just like the so-called exploitative white man in the industry, then don't come out and say how you're a Black leader. This is all about love and, you want to be there for people. Moved on to Mace. Mace, they were like, and like a lot of the people, this is what I'm realizing, y'all. Like, I'm like, okay, I am a little older, but I ain't that old. Okay.
All right, y'all said y'all don't want to talk about Diddy.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't have to talk about it.
We talk about Diddy and some other people on Clubhouse. If we don't talk about Diddy, we can go back.
I was just going to say, it'd be faster to name the people he actually helped.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. But anyway, it's just, it's just toxic. And long story short, the other thing I want to say, this is about Diddy, but that Wack came in. They pinged in Wack, thinking that because Wack knows these artists and he signs contracts that he was going to talk to me, but he actually didn't. He was just talking about some different contracts. But one thing that was revealed is that this guy JP. He's from, Wisconsin.
Are we going to talk about Diddy or are we going to talk about something else? Because y'all still going back to Diddy.
No, this isn't Diddy. This isn't Diddy. No, I just want to tell y'all. No, I just want to tell you about this exchange. This is not Diddy. It's just that this Diddy.
But I don't like talking about Wack either because he'll start coming in your room with the dumb shit. Because he came in ADHD's room the other day just because somebody brought up his name. Like, I don't play with these type of people.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because
let's stay in the room. Y'all want to address them, address them. And then have that conversation with him. But
he was already there. I didn't even want to talk to him then. So, I'm good. If anybody wants to know, we can do a private.
And if you want to do a conversation about how great he is, go ahead, do that. But I ain't gonna talk down on nobody in here unless they're in here. Not that type of motherfucker. Hey, Brooklyn, how you doing, babe?
Hey.
Where Brooklyn at? What'd you say yesterday, man? You was looking for
I was looking for Brooklyn.
Oh, man. I did find an article about what's going on with the U.S. and Israeli strikes and what the nuclear experts are saying. So, like, Iran could become more dangerous now. Before it was, like, the uranium enrichment. A lot of experts were saying they were doing it because the U.S. was on some bullshit, playing with their money. Now they're talking about there's suspicions that now they're gonna try to fix their nuclear facilities, maybe build private ones, and try to get access to a damn weapon. Cause y'all keep playing on their time.
I heard North Korea gave them some tanks or something recently. I can't remember.
Could have, because they have to have the warhead and they have to have a vehicle to launch it from, whether it's a plane, truck, something. They have to have something to launch it from. So, I do have a clip. It's like 2 minutes long, and they're talking about this. So, from ABC News, yeah. We want to music.
And what evidence are they talking about here when they're referring to the impact of the strikes and new information? Well, Diane, there's no doubt that these bombs caused considerable damage. What we're learning now is that there were 12 of these massive ordnance penetrators that were essentially dropped right over ventilation shafts of this massive Fordo facility inside of Iran. This is a nuclear facility. They say it did considerable damage. We are told by sources that this DIA report has confirmed that considerable damage was caused at this site. But the question really here is whether or not it hit the enriched uranium that's at the heart of the Iran's nuclear program, and whether or not some of it was moved out in advance. So what we heard today was Pete Hegseth saying, look, I haven't seen anything that suggests we didn't hit exactly what we needed to, and you can look at these images and see the damage there. They're not going to be operating out of this facility anytime soon. Now, when the question went to General Kane on this, who is of course, the president's top military advisor, he said, look, BDA is not my business. This is battle damage assessment. We're not going to grade our own homework. We're going to leave that up to the intelligence community to decide exactly where Iran's nuclear program stands. But he said there was no doubt this was a military success, Diane. And we're also now hearing from Iran's supreme leader for the first time in weeks, and he's declaring victory, saying Iran delivered a heavy slap to America's face. What do you make of that, and what does that mean for possible talks with the U.S.?
Yeah, I think on one level, no great surprise in what Ali Khamenei had to say. As you say, he declared victory over Israel. He said we delivered a blow to America, referring to the strike in Qatar, the Al Udeid air base, claiming that the missiles had landed there when obviously they hadn't, claiming that Israel would never have managed to survive intact unless America had come to its aid. This is all about the domestic audience. I think what's really interesting is he has exactly the same background, this brown curtain in this video message as he's had in previous messages. It's not an appearance in public. Is it proof of life? Because there's been speculation as to whether or not he is alive. I guess so, because it was clearly recorded after the ceasefire, after the attack in Al Udeid. But is it proof that he's come above ground, out of hiding? Absolutely not. Was it live? No. When was it recorded? We don't know. So I think it leaves many questions there. I think the messaging, like I say, is entirely predictable from Iran's supreme leader. And we're getting reports of a crackdown on dissent inside Iran. At least 3 executions of late, dozens of people arrested. Our teams speaking to Iranians inside the country. They're very scared to talk, but those who are talking about an atmosphere of fear as the regime cracks down, as it tries to reassert its control. So, no surprises in the statement. I think they've got problems at home. How significant? We'll have to wait and see.
And what's the next step in assessing how successful these strikes were, and how critical is that assessment to our national security? Yeah, I think you're going to hear from other agencies. They're going to be producing their own classified reports. The Energy Department, NSA, CIA, they're all going to have a say in this, and they're going to try to coordinate their intelligence, and eventually we'll get some sort of declassified statement from the intelligence community that says this is where we think the Iranian program stands. Now, I think it's very likely that this attack could have very well set back Iran's nuclear ambitions by years and not months, because that was a very early assessment that we were reporting on. But I think all of this something more to it. And all of this matters because, of course, nobody wants a nuclear-armed Iran, at least not Western powers or the U.S. That's what's at stake here. That's what we're hoping to learn in the months to come. And Ian, part of what's complicating this too is Iran's level of cooperation or lack thereof with nuclear inspectors. Where does that stand now?
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't forget that the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, which is this UN nuclear watchdog, hasn't been able to get access to the sites. I've been speaking to Israeli officials, nor have they. And interestingly, most Israeli officials are echoing what you're hearing from the Pentagon. Some are saying perhaps it's months, but most feel it's probably years. One senior military official said to me, anyone who's saying that it's been totally wiped out is probably wrong. Anyone who's saying that it wasn't a successful mission is probably wrong, but we won't know for a considerable period of time. But we've just had this vote in the Iranian parliament, which is not binding because this is an authoritarian theocracy and only the supreme leader gets to decide. But nevertheless, this vote is to withdraw cooperation with the IAEA. Again, it's hard to know, going back to Ali Khamenei's speech, how much of this is flag waving and how much of it is true intent. I think withdrawing cooperation, any suggestion they've stored some enriched uranium, they may be starting up their nuclear program again. The Israelis and the Americans have been very clear that will be unacceptable, and it's hard to imagine that Iran hasn't heard that message.
And clarity and panel, thank you both.
No, it feels like a lot of fluff. Nobody was really telling us what's happening over there today. That's what I like to do, is ask ChatGPT, hey, how many people died today in Israel and why? These are things that we don't want to see the images. The things we should be doing at least.
Oh, right now Iran isn't letting anyone in, no individual body, to verify the status of this program. It says here in this article, Iran is still evaluating whether it will stay in the NPT. They said on the Iranian state TV following the vote by Parliament last week. They pretty much said that they're evaluating what they're going to say. The NPT also requires inspections by IAEA to verify compliance with the treaty, so it remains unclear how Iran will comply with this aspect of the treaty given the law. Whether or not Iran will stay in the NPT needs to be investigated, according to Argachi, who said that Iran will act accordingly with the interests of the country.
Hey, quick question. How much do you pay for renting Canada?
So me and my roommate actually split $3,200 for a 2-bed, 2-bath. And
Connecticut, father from New Jersey.
So right now,
why was it?
Experts are saying that
What was that, Betty? He growling and shit.
Yeah, and a dog outside the door, but if I open the door, his ass will stay in the house. The punk. That's the kind of dog I got.
What kind of dog is it?
Let me bring Gemini up. So, I think he left. Oh, no, he's not.
Teacups. You know, they're louder than their fucking body.
A Pomeranian? A teacup Pomeranian? Oh, yeah, they bad. They be about that business.
Morale sounded like he was on business, like.
Yeah, I thought he was a pit bull for a second. Like, what the hell?
If I walk him outside and a dog start barking, he be looking at me like I'm not moving.
Yeah, like pick me up.
up. I'm not gonna pee. I'm not gonna shit. I ain't doing a damn thing. But then, as soon as you get in the house, right? Because my neighbor got a dog. That dog will be barking. As soon as he get in the house, he'll be standing at the door with the door closed, barking and shit. But you get his ass outside near that gate, that bug be like, "What's going on here? Have you lost your damn mind?" That dog big.
My dogs be trying to fight each other. They be trying to fight other dogs so bad. It's terrible. I can't.
That's that dominance. They battle for dominance.
Yeah, one be trying to tell the other one to chill out, and they just get to fighting. And bullies fighting is crazy. Like, my cousin got shih tzus and go crazy when they start fighting. But when bullies fight, that's like violent.
Well, you got bullies.
Yeah, I got a American bully and a pit bull.
I should have known. That fits your personality.
Of course. And you bring them, don't you? Because I want one. I want to go.
I got 21.
Gemini, Kiki, haha, where were you yesterday?
I was chasing people around the app that owe me money.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, we was looking for you. We was like, "Where's Gemini?"
I was chasing people around the app.
He was collecting.
Gemini was getting attacked.
Hey, Betty, the paint. I don't need no bean. I was in the paint and bang fire. I'm good with that.
Did y'all talk about the big funky bill?
Unless you got some. Go ahead, babe. Talk on it.
No, I just heard that they had made some modifications and sent it back today or last night, and they said something about it was like a few Republicans that was voting against it last night, and then this morning they changed to yes.
Yeah, all but one.
Yes.
All the others changed it, yeah. So last night, it was 5 no's and 8 no votes. By this morning, it's 1 no. That's it. Dispatcher's the only one I held it down. And Hakeem Jeffries has been talking 6 hours now. And the slowest fucking voice ever. Like the dog.
Is he doing that thing that whatchamacallit did? Not the filibuster, but like
and now he's just trying to prolong the he's trying to prolong.
Gotcha.
This shit is so funny. That's the one.
He didn't want him to do it in the middle of the night. He wanted everybody to be awake.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's funny. He's talking slow on purpose.
This nigga's funny as shit.
A similar story. An inheritance from our parents and our grandparents, all of us have that kind of story to tell. Why am I so thankful that my parents made what I believe was a tough personal decision, but of course the right decision. It's because of what that union membership actually meant to my journey and my younger brother's journey. In 1973, my younger brother was born with a serious heart condition. He's okay right now. He's doing well. Right now, he continues to say on social media that he's our mother's favorite son. Let me say from the house floor, no, you are not. I think she favors both of us. The younger brother in 1973, he's born with
to speak on a single mother from New Jersey.
What they do when they gotta use the bathroom? I'd be wondering.
Probably has a sack on the side of his leg.
They be up there all night long. I'd be wondering, like, what y'all wearing Pampers?
I told her that said I said become a moderator because that nigga can talk.
Cory Booker said that he dehydrated himself for several days. I mean, he went through a whole procedure when he did his.
He did what now? He was dehydrated.
He dehydrated himself so he wouldn't have to pee.
That is crazy.
But he did like certain things over person. Yeah. He said, yeah, it is dangerous. That's why he was able to beat that record. But he didn't have a diaper, he didn't have a bag, none of that. He dehydrated himself.
A diaper would make more sense. Now, God,
yeah, you know, crazy. Yeah, and he kind of had a lot of energy because he was doing interviews at the end and all sorts of stuff. So
I'm saying, but what if you got a shit? What if you got a shit? People don't shit no more.
He fasted and his body, fasted his body and didn't eat or drink, in order to prepare for all of that stuff. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Brooklyn, you already know all politicians is full of shit.
But still, I think Jeffrey has to do something because a lot of people are angry at Jeffries. Like, I feel like a lot of people feel like he's out of touch because he's talking about the Mandami. He's like, I don't know who he is. So he refused to endorse Mandami. I don't know if there's any conversation about him in a sit down or whatever with Mandami, but it doesn't seem like any sort of willingness to cooperate. I mean, he is the Democratic candidate. I mean, at least I would think maybe one of the most powerful Democrats in the state of New York would want to sit down with the potential, mayor of New York. And y'all are both in the same party, although vastly different takes on Israel, right? But honestly, like, you would think you want the best for New York City, right? And I don't know if I necessarily want my New York City politicians having a policy about Israel.
Well, the Jewish community is very prevalent in New York City, so I'm sure they're gonna have some kind of policy or something. They're gonna feel some kind of way about Israel.
I always heard that. Is that meaning the Jewish community in New York like that?
When I was in school, we got Jewish holidays of every. That's why I tell people I'm part Jewish too. Shit.
Right.
I celebrate all their holidays.
Right, BK, it's part of your culture. That's for real.
It's the second largest population of Jews outside of Israel.
Damn.
It's in New York City, yeah.
Yeah, I always heard that. I just didn't know if it was true.
And Jews get a lot of their culture from us.
Yeah, I got a lot of. Who is us? Florida. I need you to stop. So I was about to say.
You from California?
I be trying to make fun of TV. I said certain things. Yeah.
Yo, Brooklyn, wildin'. Hey, Brooklyn, I had to think about it. Like yesterday, I'm getting called lame by a pro-Diddy prostitute. And my nigga living No, but I'm not making this up, Patty. She
I knew you talking about I was in there. I got on my goddamn nerves. But I'm going to go on you.
Yeah, I'm getting called lame by a pro-Diddy prostitute.
You talking about Lance?
Yeah, of course. You already know what I'm talking about.
You was in there and you heard that conversation.
Yeah, I did.
And fucking Bullet Scotty's lying ass. We made I was looking through our replays trying to find that room in here. I don't know how to find the room. Like, we can make the best.
We don't do replays in here. We don't record.
I know this. That's what I was like fuck, because the more I look, I couldn't find it.
It wasn't our room. You did it in, from what Mel said, it was done in that wood.
Nah. No. He only did 2 at the wood. I don't know what other house he had out there. I don't know what about bets you have in other houses.
I won my bets in the wood. They solid. They paid up.
Yeah.
It's bullets.
That's what I'm saying. You did another one somewhere else. I don't know about those other ones.
It was either Lisa's or politically correct. It was one of the two. I don't know which one though.
It was probably 420 because he be going over there. He don't really come over here.
Cause he blocked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nobody. I hate them.
And you know she be going to her rooms, but
I want him to drown in the fucking puddle of piss. I swear to God.
Gemini, that girl that changed her thing at the last minute and then she wanted to go against you. She paid you? Euros. Give me my money in euros.
Crazy. Yeah, she paid yesterday.
Which one was that?
That was
last minute. She want to be like, I'm like,
which
one? Like, you sure you want to go against me? You want to go against me?
Right. Like, you just want to give me money? Like, what are you
$100.
Or that
I guess my bet was that Diddy would be found guilty of one or some of the charges. He would be either not guilty or hung jury.
Yeah. Okay.
That was right word.
I know you was worried at first, Gemini, when they kept saying not guilty.
Yeah. No, when they kept saying 2 through 5. Remember we had the 2 through 5 room?
Yeah.
I knew it was lit. I knew some of them had to be guilty charges.
Yeah, but you know what? The one he got charged guilty for, I didn't see that one.
The transportation?
Yeah, transportation.